What's good, you guys? Welcome back. I'm so excited for this video. I just love when the universe drops into my lap a success story that definitely talks about what we've been talking about recently. And what we're talking about today is we're going to talk about authenticity and being honest with yourself. And this has been something that's come up in my sessions, but also too I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, but it definitely works when you have a success story to share along with it. And this is a beautiful one. You may want to get your tissues together because this one really just, I just love it. It came in yesterday from a client that I've been working with for a few months. And when he first came to me, he was super, super, super upset with himself, super upset with his life. There was just so much not going per se right in his life, and he just did not know exactly what to do. He felt like he was losing everything, losing his sense of self, lost his relationship, was on the verge of losing his job, losing it all. And he did not understand what it was or what he wanted. What he initially wanted to do was to manifest all of these things back, and he wanted to get things back to the way that they used to be. But what was really going on here was so much more deeper than that. And I want to share with you guys because most times when clients come to me, they think that the thing that they are manifesting is the thing that they truly, truly want. And that's not to say that, of course, like you're not going to get your SP, the money, and all these things, but it is a little deeper than that, especially when you may not be being honest with yourself about what it is that you truly desire for your life. So, this client, he was in his early 40s and he thought that he would have it all by now, thought he would be married, thought that his career would be just in the best position. And he said he felt like his job was on the line and he wanted my help on him getting his numbers back up at work. And he was like, I used to be at the top of my company. I used to get a bonus. And he had been making so many mistakes this year, which caused his relationship to suffer. And his girlfriend had ended up leaving him. She felt like he wasn't all in the relationship, and he had gotten behind on bills, and he wanted to know what he can do. So initially, like I said, he wanted to work on this and wanted to have overall happiness in his life, but couldn't understand why he wasn't happy. He was trying to manifest these things, trying to affirm, trying to somehow get back to something that he thought was back there for him instead of choosing who he was. So he was saying it was about the job, it was about his boss, it was about his money issues, his ex girlfriend, all of that stuff. And when we're always trying to get back to what we believe we've lost, we're not understanding there is no lack or loss in the divine mind. And so we've been working together for about 2 weeks at this point, a few months ago. And it was just so much that it was just blame on everything, blame on his circumstance, blame on the situation, and blame on everything else. And when we really started unraveling things, this really took on a whole different perspective. So, one of the things that he really kept bringing back to the story that was on repeat was when it came to his parents. And his parents pushed him to go to college instead of doing what it was that he really wanted to do. So, he said that he had ended up getting a computer science major and a good job, and it pays the bills, all these things. That's what his parents was pushing him to do. And he said, I just never felt like they heard me. And they just said, you know what, because we come from an immigrant family, we need to get degrees. And so they kind of pushed away all my other interest. And so I said, well, what is that story that's running on repeat? And he said that he wanted to make his dad proud and he never felt accepted. And his parents wanted him to go to school and get a degree. And one time when he was 14, what he really wanted to do, because he was drawing all the time. He was drawing and he was painting and he was writing. He was so creative, and in his creative bag, he said, I was just so good at it. And my parents, they really didn't support me in this. They really wanted me to get involved in math and science and things that they said would produce a good career. And they didn't really focus on my arts and his siblings' arts and all the things that they were interested in. They really wanted them to get a good degree. And so he said it was common because they just came from an immigrant family. And so he said he remembered when he was 14 and he was drawing in his room, and his dad came in and he said that his art won't make him successful, and that he needed to go to school and get an honorable job. He said it felt like his dreams died that day. And so that was our first breakthrough. And I said, so that means that you still live there, right? You're still living in that reality of your father saying that your art won't make you successful and that you need to do all these things. You need to get the job, honorable job. You need to be married. You need to have all these things because that's what your family wants for you, right? I said, so you're still living there, right? And he was like, I guess so. And I said, well, if you were honest, because I know that most of my clients, they think it's all these other things. But when we're doing inquiry, guys, when we're asking ourselves what it is that we truly want, if you were honest with yourself about what it is that you want, I asked him, I said, what do you want to do? What's that first thing that comes to mind when you're not following those nudges? If you were just to follow the nudge, that initial thought that pops into your mind, what is it that you want to do? And then he said, I want to draw. I want to be a cartoonist. I want to paint. I want to create. And I just want to do that. That's what I want to do. And so we sat with that for a minute, and he just felt like it was like the first time that he could breathe, because he realized, he was like, that's what I want. That's what I want. I want to do my art. I want to create. I want to do all this stuff. I don't want to be in this job that I'm in. I don't want this career. I just don't want all these things that other people want for me. And so when we sat with that for a minute, now, when it comes to your job, relationships, with this understanding, what is it that you really do want when it comes to your relationships? And he said, I want my parents to accept me for what I do. I want them to like my art. I want them to support it. And he said, I feel sad now because I pushed my girlfriend away. And he said, I'm stuck on my job now because I hate my job and I don't want to do it anymore. And so it was just like this big release where he was like holding on to what he thought that he had to do, or what was placed on him, or what he bought into, the belief that he thought that he had to stay in this situation and do all these other things and make all these other people happy. But remember, you guys, there are no others here. So what is it that you really want here? He said, I want to be me. And I said, so yes, you want to be you, and you want to accept you. You want to accept your art, and you want you to be okay with it. And it was just like the deepest breath after deepest breath. And he was like, that was the first time I feel like I could actually breathe. He said, I just felt like it was in me so much. Like I just didn't know what I was holding on to. And that's why everything he was trying to manifest with his job getting better, him getting more money at his job, getting those things fixed in his life when it came to the bills, his ex-girlfriend, all these things. That's why it wasn't working, because you were not being honest with yourself about who you truly want to be, right? And so what he said he wanted to work on was he wanted to revise that time, that one running story that he had when he was 14, and he wanted his parents to support him. So that's what he wanted to do. So he worked on revision and all that stuff. But of course, you guys know that we had Thanksgiving this past week, and he had a major success. So I really want to share it with you guys. And so he said, of course, he went to go spend time with his parents. And so he said his parents were bringing up his relationship, career. And you guys know that when we go see our family, I don't know if you guys go through this, but you bring out the family pictures and you talk about the things that, were happening when you were kids and memories and all that good stuff, right? So, of course, they had the family pictures going. All the family was there, the siblings was there, everyone was there. And his mom brought out a few of his drawings because they were in the family photo book. And so he looked at them and they were talking about it. And his mom was talking about how he used to stay up all night creating and how he was good at it. He said the next day after Thanksgiving, and they were talking, and his parents kept bringing up his ex girlfriend and when are you going to get married and all this stuff. They were asking about the job. They were saying, you're getting in your 40s, all the stuff that, the parents say. And he said he just couldn't take it anymore. He just blurted it out. And he was like, I'm not happy. He was like, I'm really not happy. And they were like, why? Like, why don't you want to get married? You're doing well at your career, all these things. And he said, I finally had to be honest. And he said, I just want to create. I want to draw. I want to paint. I want to write. I want to do something else. He was like, I'm not happy. So he's like, I pushed my ex-girlfriend away. He was like, I hate my job. And he just went on ahead and told them everything that was pretty much going on. He said, I just felt like I couldn't hold it in anymore. And then they both, of course, were shocked because they were like, what? And his mom said, well, we do want you to be happy. And so his father asked about the job, and he said, well, what about your job? And he said, well, I hate it. He was like, I'm not happy. And so, that was pretty much the conversation. And so he just, kind of felt like, well, he don't know if they accept it or whatever, but he felt better because he got it off his chest, right? So he said they didn't really say very much, but before he left, his dad was in the garage for a long time, and he thought his dad was upset with him because, he didn't want to do what his father said he should do anymore and all this stuff. So he said before he left and his dad was in the garage, his dad came out and brought him a big box of all of his drawings and his paintings, his pencils, the coloring pencils, all this stuff. He said he kept them all, and he told him that he loves him and is proud of him for standing up to him and being honest. And he said that he is talented and he should pursue his craft. And he said that he was really shocked, and he was like, what, you're not mad at me, you're not upset with me? And his dad was like, he's like, computer science is boring anyway. And he said, don't stifle yourself, because there were a lot of my dreams and things I wanted to do that I didn't get a chance to do. And we love you, we support you. His parents were like, we want you to be happy, and if at this point in time in your life you want to pursue something else, we'll be there for you. So he said everything that he really wanted to hear, he just felt like it was just like this big weight that was fell off his shoulders. And when we first met, he just had so much anxiety around everything. He was trying to manifest the job going well, the success, the money, and all these things. And he said it was just like this weight that finally lifted off of him. And so he told me that weekend, which was this past weekend, he said, I brought all new crafts, new pencils, things, paints, all the stuff, all the things he wanted to do pretty much. And he said, I stayed up all night. He said, I stayed up all night Saturday, stayed up all night Sunday, all day. He said, I was just drawing, painting, I was writing. He said, I was getting out everything that I had, pretty much kept in for over, like, he was like close to like 30 years. He was like, just everything within me just wanted to come out and express itself. And he said, I just never felt so relieved and light. And he said, I just felt so heavy and dense before, but he said, I just finally felt like this was my moment to finally start expressing myself. And so it really was like him following his highest joy, his highest pleasure at that time, right? And so yesterday, when we had this conversation, which was Monday, and he went to work. So yesterday he told me, he said, I felt so light at work. I was efficient. I was kinder to my associates. He said, I got all of my work done ahead of time. He said the atmosphere was just different. But what was really different, you guys, he was different, right? He said on his lunch break, he called his ex-girlfriend, and of course she didn't answer, but he said he felt inspired to leave her a text and just apologize and asked if she would meet up sometime with him this week to talk. He said she hasn't responded yet. He said, but the biggest thing that was just the biggest, you know, thing that kind of dawned on him was, he said, I realized that I was waiting on me, and that everything that was actually happening to me, or what I thought was happening to me, the loss, the lack of money, getting behind on bills, all these things, he was like, it was actually a gift to show me that I was not being myself, that I was not choosing myself, that I was not seeing myself, and I was waiting for something to happen or trying to fix something and stay inside of a story or a pretty much timeline that I no longer want for myself. He said, so I'm okay with everything happening with the way that it is now. He said, but I do realize that all of those things were kind of leaving my life so I could wake up to the fact that I was not being who I truly desire to be. And so this was so amazing, you guys. This was so amazing because that nudge that he really wanted to follow was his career, was his art, was his passion, being a cartoonist, all these things. And he shared with me some of his images and he's so good at it. I'm like, man, like of course, he thinks because he's in his 40s and all these things that he can't do it. But he's like, now he just feels inspired to try and inspired to go for it. He had all these hangups before about those things previously, but now he feels like he can finally be himself. And so I really want to talk about it, guys. What's happening here? Because when you're out of alignment and when you set out for a higher version for yourself, or you're trying to fix something, you don't know why your manifestations aren't coming in. You don't know why you're upset with your life. You feel like you have to stay in all these situations and all these things. And it's mainly because, and when I hear this from people, it's because they're not being honest about what they truly desire, or they're not allowing their intuition to lead them. They're in their heads thinking that they have to figure it out, have to know what things mean, but they're not following what they really truly desire for themselves, right? Sometimes you don't realize, guys, that certain timelines that you're on, when you're no longer aligned with them. He wasn't aligned with that timeline of wanting to have a degree for computer science and all those things. That was linked to that version of him. But that higher self wanted more. That higher self wants now to experience more of who he truly is, which is to get into his art, which is to do the things that he really desires to do. But he was masking all of that and not paying attention to that because he felt that he needed to stay in that reality and try to fix that reality. But what it really was is I am was moving through him to say, hey, like, there's more life to experience. So sometimes you think that you're losing something. It's the perception that you think you're losing something, or that there's something to go back to. There's nothing to go back to. There's more life to be experienced. So what's happening here when you have a perceived loss or stagnancy occurs, or what's happening is you're kind of getting kicked off of that timeline for you to wake up to who you are. And the truth is, guys, when we're talking about I am here and authenticity, when you're rejecting yourself, you're not understanding that life wants to be lived. You're supposed to have a range of experiences in life. And when that's done, you move on to experience more life. And so when you're not listening to your higher self, when you're not trusting those nudges, when you're not trusting yourself to be who it is that you truly desire to be, then you stay in those situations and then you're upset. And then all these things kind of happen and for you to be able to wake up to who you are. So there's this scripture that I want to share with you. You probably heard it before, but this is what it means. And as someone that's been through this, I know for a fact that when you're not being authentic with yourself about what you want, about the desires, all the things, this is what happens. And so it's Matthew 13, verse 12, and it says, for whoever has, to him more will be given, and he will have abundance. But whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken away. So when you don't know yourself as source, when you are rejecting it, when you don't honor yourself, when you're not recognizing the abundance in the love that you have in your relationships, all these things, your art, the creativity that you have, when you don't take yourself seriously as source, you guys, when you are waiting to be yourself, then you're going to be waiting forever. So what it was he wanted to give himself permission the whole time. He didn't want the permission from his parents. He wanted that permission from himself. He wanted himself. So a lot of the times you think that all these things that you're trying to manifest are somehow going to make you finally happy, or you're trying to keep yourself small in that, when it's not. When you truly desire to know yourself, you guys, that's what manifestation is, you guys. It's the desire to know yourself as source, as your desires. And through these experiences, that's how you're experiencing more of yourself. So you're always being called to more life, for more experiences. And when you're not honoring yourself for that, these things happen in this timeline where you're no longer aligned, or that higher self is saying, hey, like, let's do this, let's do that. And when you deny yourself those experiences, this is the result: that perceived loss, that stagnancy, that feeling trapped in situations for years and years and years. And so I just love that this success story dropped in like this at this time, because this is what I was talking about yesterday, about following your intuition, you guys. And I am itself is not a technique, you guys. It's not a technique to get anything. This is who you truly are. And so when you're not listening to yourself, you're going to see the signs of perceived loss, of perceived stagnancy. And when you get on that other side, now everything that you think that you've lost, that you thought you wanted, now it has a whole new meaning. Now, remember, he said, he was like, you know what? I realized that my girlfriend leaving me, that all these things happening to me in the job, the money lost, getting behind on bills, was to wake me up to say, hey, you're not being who you truly desire to be. And so that's really what it was. You're not seeing yourself. You're not seeing the love that you are for yourself. And so everything here is working together for you. When you think that all these things are happening, it's actually you showing yourself love, saying, hey, there's more for us to experience. Hey, this is actually not for you anymore. There's more to be had. You actually want to do this. This will be amazing for you to experience. Follow your highest excitement over here. And it will just do you good to listen to that, to trust that, and to move in that direction. So even if it's just for excitement for right now, it's going to be amazing. And all those other things, like his job and all those things, will, you know, be better, because he is experiencing more of himself. He's honoring himself. He's drawing. He's doing all those things. That's how I am wants to express itself through him right now. So I really hope that this definitely assists you guys. Yeah, this was just a beautiful story. I had to get on here and share it with you guys. So I'm just so excited to hear more about his success. We're going to catch up in a few weeks and he's going to share with me more. I know that he's excited because he said he knows he's getting back with his ex-girlfriend, and he knows they're together, and he knows that he's going to do something with this. So I'm so proud of him for finally being honest and listening to that nudge. So yeah, you guys, that's what it is about being authentic. When you're not being authentic with yourself as the source, then all the things sometimes you think you want, what you really want is yourself. All right. So, yeah, you guys. So, I'm excited for my I Am Immersion experience. I still would love for you to come. We still have more spots available. So, that is December 14th and 15th. I'm so excited. So, I hope that you join me there. And if you would like to work with me personally on a one-to-one by phone or email, definitely get down in the description box below and book your session. I would love to talk to you. And once again, you guys, imagination is on your side, and I am too. Bye.